Welcome, martial artist. This video reviews the 22-step Joe form, in which we're going to initially show you the basic form. Secondly, we're going to break the form down into its component parts and go over each step in as many directions as we need to be a clear view of what exactly we're doing. And then thirdly, show the completed form in 4 different directions. Now, if you've not already reviewed the 13-step Joe form video, please do at this point, as we cover a number of the basic issues with the history of the Joe and the basic use and safety with the Joe itself. We also have on our website, willowmartialarts.com, a full written explanation of the step-by-step breakdown of the 22-step Joe form. We begin with the performance of the Joe form as you would see it as an official in a competition. This form also begins with the standard beginning Junbi position. This form has an additional option of repeating the form. The way we do that is in the final move, we then go back to an overhead block and continue at the beginning of the form. Let me demonstrate. We draw back into overhead, come down into our thrust, and then begin the form all over again. This gives you the option of repeating the form several times in a row for better practice. Now let's review each step in the 22-step Joe form and break it down and show the individual actions to demonstrate in as many directions as we need to exactly the way that action is taken. A reminder again that we use the line of attack. In this case, we'll be using this red line directly in front of me, which represents the line directly between the attacker and you in your initial position. As always in martial arts, our first move is to try to get out of that line of attack to avoid taking a blow directly from our opponent. So we begin the 22-step Joe form, as with the 13-step Joe form, in the basic start position. That is, the left hand is about 6 inches from the top of the Joe. The tip of the Joe is resting on the floor about 6 inches in front of my left great toe, and I'm in that modified back stance. We begin this form in the same way by raising that Joe up just a couple of inches off the ground, and that left hand then twists the Joe to bring it back into the right hand. The right hand grasps the Joe, several inches from the end. Our opponent is thrusting at us. We step across that line of attack to the front to get out of their line of attack. My front foot is pointed directly towards my attacker, and my left foot moves back to be in a modified back stance. I then take and guide with my front left hand and push with my back right hand to thrust into the chest and neck of my opponent. We then take and move back into a parry position. Back in the midline, we take and move the Joe across the midline to move the attacker's Joe out of the way, and we're moving that tip up to lift their Joe. While we're doing that, our left hand opens. We have a nice spread between the thumb and index finger so that we get those fingers out of the way. And as we're moving, our hand comes down to the end. We withdraw the Joe, and our right hand brings a Joe up to the back to help protect us from the strikes. We then drop that Joe down to our side, step across that line of attack, and thrust again. We then move to a strike to the left side of our opponent's neck and shoulder area by first stepping aside stepping across the line of attack with that right foot, again pointing that right foot towards the attacker. As we will typically do here, we will make our move with our feet first to set a good foundation and then execute the upper body actions. We take and we let go with our left hand. We're swinging that Joe around in a circle, re-grasping the Joe like a baseball bat and bringing it down 45-degree angle to strike between the temple and the shoulder. Any of these areas, collarbone, shoulder, neck, side of the head, are appropriate targets. We then take and step forward with our left foot across that line of attack, and again, facing the foot towards the attacker. That Joe comes around in a circle, and we execute a strike to the attacker's right shoulder and neck area. Let me show that to you from the side to make sure that you're seeing the full view of what we're doing. Can we begin by raising that Joe, rotating that Joe back into the right hand. We step forward across the line of attack and thrust with the Joe. We step back, open our left hand, and push that Joe of the attackers out of the way as we bring that Joe back to protect our head. We drop that Joe down to our side, step forward again, and thrust. We are then going to counterattack by stepping across the midline with our right foot, pointing that towards our attacker, getting into a good modified back stance. That we let go with our left hand. That Joe comes around in a circle. We re-grasp with our left hand like a baseball bat and bring it down at 45 degrees to strike our attacker's left neck and shoulder area. We step forward with our left foot across that line of attack. We bring that Joe around again in a nice circle and strike the right neck and shoulder of our attacker. Those are the beginning moves, and I will show you the next moves from here. We finished with our front attacker. We are now being attacked by someone in back. We let go of our left hand, and we bring it out to the end of our Joe. We guide with our right hand as we push the Joe back to strike the knee or the groin or the leg of our attacker from behind. We then pull that Joe back into its original position. We turn in place. And as we pull our left hand downward on the Joe, we use it to strike our opponent's Joe and knock it down. We then step forward with our left foot as we bring our left hand back out to the front and we thrust. Then we do the same movements of the left and right strikes to the opponent's neck and shoulder area by letting go with our left hand as we step across the line of attack with our right foot. We swing that Joe around in a circle, re-grasp the Joe with our left hand like a baseball bat, bring it down at a 45-degree angle onto that shoulder. We step across the line of attack with our left foot, bring that Joe around again in a circle, down at a 45-degree angle, striking our opponent's right neck and shoulder. So that gets us through the first front attack, followed by a back attack. And then let's move on from that circumstance. I'm going to switch in the other direction because I think that will give us a better view. So we have finished, again, our front attack. We've thrust, knock the opponent, Joe, out of the way. We've thrust here. We've hit the left shoulder. We've hit the right shoulder. Now the other attacker is attacking again. We simply turn in place, holding our Joe in the same position to knock their Joe out of the way. We pull it back, we step forward, and we thrust. We now step across the midline again and execute that neck and shoulder hit to their right side. So the left foot steps forward across that line of attack. The Joe comes around down at a 45-degree angle. And now we move back into a parry. We let go with our left hand as we step back. We open up that thumb and first finger, and we parry here. Now we're going to reverse the Joe. What I do is I grab the Joe now with my left hand. I let go with my right hand. I spin it a half turn horizontally and re-grab with my right hand. I move my left foot back as I thrust directly to the rear. I can be hitting the groin, the thigh, the knee. I then step forward with my right foot, with my left foot. I bring it up in the midline. I can hit the chin with this. I pull the Joe back directly and strike the face. I let go with my right hand and I turn the Joe over. I can be knocking their Joe out of the way or just preparing for a thrust. I come back into that parry position by opening up my left hand, sweeping the Joe to the left as I raise it to knock their Joe out of the way. And then I do that same Joe reversal, grabbing with the left hand, letting go with the right hand, turning it a half turn, re-grasping with the right hand, and I'm going to thrust again to the back. But this time I step back with my left foot and go down on my knee as I strike directly to the back. I can strike their foot, or their knee in this position. I then step forward with my left foot as I stand up. I sweep across. I pull it back, strike their foot. I let go with my right hand, turn the Joe over, strike their knee or their foot. I pull the Joe back. Left hand is now about 6 inches from the end. The right hand comes up, right below the left hand. I step back with my left foot as I strike the side of the head. I let go with my left hand as I use the right hand to turn it over a half turn vertically. I grab again with my left hand in the back. I come forward and thrust to the throat or the upper chest. I then take and step forward with my left foot across that line of attack. Good back stance. I bring the jaw around, 45-degree angle, hitting that head and neck at the end. This typically ends the 22-step form, and you can return to your start position, which I will show you simply by stepping back, grabbing with the left hand, replacing the Joe, and coming back into Jumbi, Chariot, Kyungye. Or, if we're here, we can repeat the form again by taking and switching hands, by releasing our left hand, moving it forward into that parry position again. We bring it down, thrust, and then begin the whole form over again. So let me show you those moves from the other direction to make sure you see both sides. So we have finished with our first series. We've thrust back, block, thrust. We're finishing our second opponent. We turn to knock that Joe out of the way. Pull it back, thrust, step forward with our left foot, strike the opponent's right neck and shoulder. We move back into that parry position. We then change it over by switching it half a turn around. We step back with our left foot, thrust directly back. This is not a sweep, it's a straight backward thrust. We step forward again with our left foot. We bring the Joe straight up. This can be a chin strike. Pull it back, strike the face. Step back as we release our right hand. We turn over half turn vertically. Left hand forward. This may knock the Joe out, but we use it then as a thrust. We step back into that parry move again. This time we do that horizontal switch of hands, and we step back with our left foot onto our knee, direct thrust backwards. We step forward with our left foot. We sweep across the opponent's feet. We bring the Joe back, strike the feet, let go with our right hand, bring it back to, as we turn the Joe over half a turn, thrust to the knee, pull the Joe back, bring the right hand up. So we step back with our left foot, strike the side of the head, let go with our right hand, with our left hand, as we turn over the Joe with our right hand, regrasp with our left hand, step forward, thrust to the chest or the neck, step forward with our left foot, across the line of attack, circle, and down at a 45-degree angle to the attacker's neck and shoulder. We can then move back into our original start position, or we can move back into that parry and begin the form over again. So we've demonstrated the full form step by step in multiple different views to help assure that you're seeing everything as we're doing it and breaking each step down. I hope this has been very helpful and gives you all the detail you need to perform these actions accurately and precisely. What we will do next is move on to showing the form presented in all four directions. The 22-step form I will show you again, first going forward as we would normally see it performed. Secondly, I will be starting in the direction of my left, then my right, and then starting backwards. So again, you can see the moves in all four directions. Beginning in the forward direction. Performing the 22-step Joe form beginning towards my left. Beginning the Joe form, heading to my right. Beginning the 22-step Joe form, heading in the backward direction. I hope the visualization in all 4 directions is helpful to see how the 22-step geoform flows and the individual movements themselves in better detail. Again, a reminder that we have all of these steps detailed in writing at willowmartialarts.com. Thank you for joining me for the video today, and continue to enjoy your martial arts.